What is going on, everyone? My name is Ghiman Mckinney, or you can just call me Juice because that is my nickname. I believe that the Indianapolis Colts are going to trade up into the first round to select a quarterback in the 2020 NFL Draft. Now, let me be very clear. I do think the Indianapolis Colts this year are in win-now mode. You know, they traded for DeForest Buckner, defensive lineman that the 49ers were not willing to pay. They did not want to take on that contract. So, the Colts just threw out a first-round pick. They gave him the 13th overall pick, and DeForest Buckner's on the team. They pay the guy. And then, they also went out and signed Phillip Rivers this offseason. They believe in Phillip Rivers. They believe they can compete and win a Super Bowl with Phillip Rivers. Personally, I disagree. But hey, Frank Wright, all power to you. So, look, Jacoby Brissett is not the future of this team. If Jacoby Brissett was the future of the team, they would not have brought in Phillip Rivers. So, they gave Phillip Rivers a one-year deal. They're in win-now mode. They're going to go all in and try to win a Super Bowl this year. But I believe the Indianapolis Colts are a well-run organization. I'm not going to bash the teams that are not well-run organizations. Most football fans and most people that know football pretty well, you can tell the difference between the teams that are really, really well-run and the difference between the teams that are kind of dysfunctional. You know, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Ravens. Well-run organizations, okay? We get it. All right? I believe the Colts are starting to become one of the teams that is in that boat. I think Chris Ballard, their GM, is one of the smartest GMs in all of football. You know, Ryan Grigson was the owner of the team for a couple years. He never really surrounded Andrew Luck with a true overall great team. You know, Ryan Grigson never was able to fix the offensive line, never really gave Andrew Luck a defense. I mean, he just didn't know how to quite build a complete team around Andrew Luck. During Ryan Grigson's time as the general manager of the Colts, I just fully believed that the team was too Andrew Luck dependent. You know, Chris Ballard comes in, they actually build a real team around Andrew Luck. In one offseason, they fixed the offensive line. Over time, they fixed the defense. You know, they've built a really good team, and it was very unfortunate that Andrew Luck retired from the Indianapolis Colts, you know, this past year, because I felt that they built a pretty good team that could win a Super Bowl if Andrew Luck was on the roster. So, unfortunately, he retired, but I really believe in what Chris Ballard is doing. And most people can agree with this statement right here that, you know, Joe Burrow, Tua, Herbert, and Jacob Eason, those are the five guys. You know, some people like, you know, Jalen Hurts. Some people like Jake Fromm. I kind of push back on those quarterbacks, but, you know, you got five quarterbacks in this draft that potentially could be franchise guys. I feel much better about, you know, Joe Burrow and Jordan Love. I'm higher on Jordan Love than most people. But again, if Tua, you know, pans out, he could be a franchise quarterback. If, you know, Herbert pans out, he could be a franchise quarterback. And if Jacob Eason gets the right, you know, coaching staff and the right system around him, he could be a franchise quarterback. I really do firmly believe that, okay? I truly believe that out of these five quarterbacks that I mentioned, Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Love, and Eason, at least two of those quarterbacks is going to drop. Let's look at teams that actually need quarterbacks. I'm going to put a graphic on the screen, so treat to you guys that are watching this podcast on YouTube. Bummer for you guys that are just listening on podcasting platforms. But either way, thank you for supporting me. But either way, I'm going to put a graphic on the screen of teams that I believe probably are going to draft a quarterback. If you put a gun to my head, these are the teams that are most likely going to draft a quarterback. And it makes sense in my opinion. Teams that actually need a quarterback at this point. The Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Chargers. Those are three teams that heading into next year, if they go into the season with the quarterback that they currently have on their roster, I don't think they're a better football team. They need to upgrade that position. I know that Tyrod Taylor is a solid quarterback. I think that he's more of a bridge gap guy for the next quarterback. I don't believe in Tyrod Taylor as a franchise-changing quarterback. So if I'm the Chargers, I pull the trigger, or either I would sign Cam Newton, okay? But now I'm going to list some teams that I do believe could look to upgrade their quarterback position, meaning they have a quarterback that I think is a franchise quarterback on their roster potentially, or a guy that I believe in right now, but I do think that over time, they need to upgrade that position if they're truly serious about winning big in the NFL, okay? Those teams are the Panthers, the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Saints. If one of those teams I just mentioned drafts a quarterback, I'm not going to be surprised, okay? The Panthers, I like Teddy Bridgewater, but I don't think that he's a quarterback you can win a Super Bowl with. I think that he's a franchise quarterback that can start games. But if they upgrade, hey, I won't mind it. Okay, the Jaguars, I think Gardner Minshew's underrated, but I think that he has a low ceiling. I like Derek Carr, but I don't love him, especially in a division with Patrick Mahomes and now Drew Lock. I think that Drew Lock has some special stuff in him. I think that the Broncos are going to be good this year. The Patriots, Jarrett Stidham, I think that he can work with Bill Belichick, but again, I think that he kind of has a low ceiling. And the Saints, I think that Drew Brees still has something left in the tank to win a Super Bowl, but I think at max, Drew Brees has 2 more very good seasons left in him. He's very old, okay? The Chargers or the Dolphins could pass on a quarterback. Now, if the Dolphins pass on a quarterback, I probably am going to be surprised because they just have too many draft picks, and I do think that they want a quarterback. They like Justin Herbert, as reported. They like Tua Tagovailoa, and they're looking to potentially trade up to get Joe Burrow. The Chargers, I don't know. They could take a quarterback, but let's say one of those teams passes on a quarterback. The only team that would be drafting a quarterback is Cincinnati. Then either you take your choice between the Chargers or Miami. That's only 2 spots. A lot of teams in the NFL do not necessarily need a quarterback. And even if the Chargers and Dolphins and Bengals all take a quarterback, let's just say you get rid of Burrow, you get rid of Tua, you get rid of Jordan Love, you're still left with Herbert or Eason, okay? Or you're left with, if someone takes Herbert, you're left with Love and Eason. And I do believe these guys are franchise quarterbacks potentially. So, look, someone is going to be there late in the first round and potentially early in the second round for the Colts. Now, I do believe there will be some teams that are going to be willing to trade down with the Colts. Potentially the Packers, because the Packers are at number 30. I would not be shocked if Jordan Love is sitting there at number 30. And I don't think the Packers are going to take Jordan Love. There's been some reports that they're looking to take a quarterback potentially to sit behind Aaron Rodgers. Personally, I think it's a smokescreen for teams to try to trade up with them to move back into that spot. But I will say this, the Colts, it makes sense for them to potentially grab a quarterback simply because I think they have the ability to do that. They have 2 second-round picks. You could really throw in a 2nd-round pick, a 4th-round pick this year, and a 3rd rounder next year, and boom, I guarantee you some team at the bottom of the 1st round is going to take that deal. I think that a team at the back of the 1st round is potentially going to take this deal. You could throw in 2 2nd-round picks this year because let's be real, a lot of teams in the bottom of the 1st round would love to have high draft picks in the 2nd round. Once you get in the 1st round of the NFL draft, that's where the best players usually go. But once you get past pick 17, I would say, there's not a huge gap between 1st rounders and 2nd rounders at that point. Most of the guys left on the board I think that most general managers would not mind if they could get one of those players in the 2nd round, okay? There's some exceptions, but the gap between 1st and 2nd round talent from pick 17 to, let's say, 30 is not that big. A lot of these guys you would like to actually get in the 2nd round. Some of these guys are actually reaches. So if you throw in 2 2nd-round picks and a 3rd rounder next year, I guarantee you a team like the Packers at 30, a team like the Titans at 29, they will take that deal. The Colts have the ability to trade back into the 1st round and get the quarterback of their future. And smart teams think ahead. Bill Belichick, always a step ahead of the league, okay? The Packers, a couple years ago, they had Brett Favre on their roster. They drafted Aaron Rodgers, and look where they're at right now. So the smart teams are really going to show who they are in this draft. And I do believe the Colts are one of those teams, and let's be real, Phillip Rivers, he's not playing at a high level for 2 or 3 more seasons. At max, I think Phillip Rivers has 1 more good season left in him, okay? 1 more good season. And Jacoby Brissett, I'm not in love with him. I think that he's good, he can win games, but he's not going to elevate anybody, okay? So I believe the Colts are going to trade back into the 1st round to take Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, or Jacob Eason. And you could say, well, you could just wait till the 2nd round to get one of these guys, and you very well could, but when you're evaluating quarterbacks, you don't wait around to find your guy for the future. This is a very important decision. You look at the Giants, this last year, I thought that they could have got Daniel Jones at pick number 17, but they picked him at number 6 overall because they were fearing that teams would try to draft Daniel Jones. And actually, Daniel Jones ended up having a market. The Denver Broncos reportedly kind of liked him, the Miami Dolphins liked him, and the Washington Redskins liked him. Okay, 3 teams ahead of the Giants at pick 17. So when you're talking about drafting quarterbacks, you don't wait around for your guy. And there could be some other teams that trade back into the first round and get one of these guys ahead of the Colts. So the Colts, I believe they know what their future is. They know that they can only get one more good year of Phillip Rivers. They're going all in this year. And they've already basically used their first round pick to get an impactful player. They got a very good defensive tackle, one of the 5 best defensive tackles in the NFL in DeForest Buckner. So I think the Colts are a smart team. I believe they're well run. I believe in Chris Ballard, and I do believe the Colts are a team that's going to look to trade back into the first round to potentially draft their quarterback of the future. Do not be shocked. Be sure to comment whether you agree with me and disagree with me. Love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.